practice in the diaspora. And like in Haiti, for instance, you know, there's a focus aspect of voodoo that people focus on. It's called la vetette, which is the head washing, which, of course, I am a big proponent of head washing, okay? I'm a very big proponent of head washing, okay? Because let me tell you, if your head is not right, then you are not right, okay? So they have this big thing where head washing is very important. And, again, it's called la vetette, okay, the head washing. And it's also called kanzle. I hope I'm pronouncing it properly for, you know, beg my pardon for anybody who is, you know, Asian. And they speak very good Creole. But this is sometimes the only initiation that you get, okay? It's no big elaborate thing where you have to dress, you know, dress up and be on the throne for 7 days and all this stuff, like it's done in Lukumi. So that initiation, the head washing, and is the important initiation. Okay, they do it like that in the Dominican Republic and in Cuba too, but in Port-au-Prince and in the south part they practice the kanzo rites, and they have 3 grades of initiation. Okay, kanzo set, sepuen, and azokwe, and the latter is the most familiar mode of practice outside of Haiti. Okay. So for all of you who are interested there, that's something that you can do. You can look into, and hopefully, if you're interested in voodoo, then you know you can go that route. Okay, and then of course, you know, we have in Africa, we have in the Caribbean also. Shango Baptist, and of course it's a mixture of, you know, Christianity and African spiritualism, that they incorporate their deities, the Orishas, and praise the Orishas in a song, dance. The drumming style is a lot like the drumming style in Nigeria, for instance. And so we have all these different ways that we can express who the Orisha are, what we are doing with Orisha, how we interact with Orisha. But more importantly, when we talk about, especially here in America, we've had a lot of people focus more on initiation, and not so much focus has been placed on devotion, so to speak. Because being an initiate does not necessarily mean that you are a devotee of Ifa or Orisha life. Okay? So people get initiated, and then they still have their regular life. They still have, you know, their job that may have nothing at all to do with Orisha, Ifa, Egun. They still have their social life that may have nothing at all to do with Ifa, Orisha, and Egun. They still have, you know, other aspects of their life, you know, whether it's their education or whatever, that doesn't have anything at all to do with Ifa, Orisha, or Egun. So now we find ourselves in a place where the people in America want to evolve and push or incorporate IFA more into their lifestyle, IFA and Orisha more into their lifestyle. Okay? So now we have talks of what is called, quote unquote, American IFA. Okay? So that is something that people need to open their ears and look out for, that they're going to be hearing more about what is called American IFA. I'm not going to let too much of the cat out of the bag in reference to American IFA, but next week's show is going to be about American IFA. So we have, and that, of course, it would be an addition to the numerous ways that people are, the numerous ways that people are expressing forms of African spirituality in the diaspora. Okay? So we're going to look out for that very interesting episode of True Talks with OFAE on next Sunday. So do look out for these posts for the show in the event on. You can find it on IFA-ORISA-EGUN Talks, and that's Orisha without the H, on blogtalkradio.com. So you type in blogtalkradio.com in the browser / IFA-ORISA-EGUN Talks, and all the episodes will pop up for you to see. And you can listen to all the pre-recorded episodes at your convenience. And, of course, you will see the date and time for the show next week. It's entitled American IFA. Orisha, of course, too, because IFA is all encompassing. So we would have this interesting topic, and it would be somewhat an extension or an addition to this discussion that we're having now, okay? Because what I'm thinking, and I'm not fully clear, and we'll find out all of this next week, but what I'm thinking is that American IFA is going to do the things that most of the other groups of IFA and Orisha worship around the diaspora are not doing. Maybe they're going to be at the forefront. This is like a prediction I'm making, that American IFA is going to be at the forefront of innovation, whereas the spirituality is going to be incorporated more so in everyday life. For instance, the language in terms of devotion, how they're going to structure the language for American IFA, I guess, is going to be English in the way that people learn. Because, in America, people speak, a lot of people, almost everyone speaks English. And then we're going to have, for instance, the promotion of whatever events that American IFA is going to put on, and in the style that they're going to put it on in. It's probably going to be very interesting to see what that is. Of course, I think American IFA is going to be very innovative in organizing classes for students, okay? And classes where, the students can learn about IFA, Orisha-EGUN, EGUN, Orisha, IFA in English, of course, and what other languages that have come along with that based on out of African spirituality, of course. And I would like to see, really and truly where some form of healthcare system is set up, coming from an African-based, centered philosophy in terms of how we address things such as mental illness, physical illness, emotional illness, and, of course, definitely financial lack, So these are all things that we as human beings are always concerned about in our everyday life, void of our spiritual interaction. But here we have the opportunity to make a shift in our thinking and incorporate our spirituality into other aspects of our life, okay? So what is missing now in terms of our spirituality that we love so very much, we got the worship part down pat. We got basically the celebration part down pat. We got the initiation part down pat. But we don't have services down pat. When I say services, where can I go to get child care services for my children who are embracing IFA-ORISA-EGUN? That they wouldn't be teaching them about SpongeBob. Instead, they would be teaching about Eshu. Like, say, you have like a daycare, and in the daycare, you're not watching SpongeBob. You're watching how Eshu, or you're watching some African-centered animated movie like Carrie Coo. I love Carrie Coo. You watch that, and get these ancient lessons that are passed down from the ancestors to us, that we are now responsible to pass down to our children, okay, and our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren. I got a whole bunch of children coming. Oh, my goodness. Give thanks and praises to the great and unfathomable creator of all things. I swear. Life is so amazing and it's so sweet at the same time. It could be better, but it all depends on what we try to embrace, So embrace the sweetness, embrace the sweetness. So we're looking to come out of American IFA programs, like after-school services, marriage and family counseling, elderly care. This is what we're looking for, because this is what people need, This is what people need, Yeah, you could pray, blah, 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 blah. I mean, anybody could pray anywhere. Okay, you could pray while walking, standing up, sleeping, lying down. You could pray anytime. But when it comes to these other aspects of our life, these needs that we have, we should begin to think along the lines where we can incorporate our spirituality into every aspect of our lives, because so our children would know that they are being left some legacy that they can carry on, and this legacy will help them to get on in life. So we wouldn't have our children ignoring what we've left them and just letting it go to waste after, okay? That they would continue in our footsteps and even build upon what they left, what we left behind. So this is what we're trying to do right now. We're trying to build on what our ancestors left for us, okay? We're trying to build that. So, you have all my brothers and sisters in Rio, in Brazil, Argentina, in Mexico, all over the world, in Europe, different parts of Europe that practice Orisha, all the people in the Caribbean and the people in Africa. We are responsible to keep our traditions alive in whatever form you want, whatever form however you do it, okay. But that's our responsibility, and then to leave something more tangible.